Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Learning Out Loud, a space for honest conversation about life as it's happening. I'm Kate, and this podcast is about the moments that shape us, the stress, the growth, the uncertainty, and the lessons we only learn by living them. I'm not here as an expert with all the answers. I'm here learning in real time, sharing what I'm discovering, and holding space for anyone figuring it out too. So, wherever you're listening from, whether you're walking, driving, or just taking a moment for yourself, I'm glad that you're here, and let's learn out loud together. In the last episode, we spoke about control and the importance of releasing it in some areas of our lives. I also delved into what life could look like once you start letting go of it. Today, I wanted to talk about what comes after that, because once control loosens, there's often a quiet, uncomfortable space where you don't quite know who you are yet. But I'm here to tell you that that's where the becoming really begins. Now, this episode today kind of came abruptly. I was just sat here on the sofa, I'd done some reading, kind of sat with myself for a bit, did some work, and I thought to myself, no, do you know what? I need to speak whilst it's on my heart. And skipping back right to when this journey all started, and I started really acknowledging what I was doing and how I was growing and becoming. I remember I went through this really weird phase where I didn't quite resonate with who I once was, but I wasn't quite fully where I was headed. And I was in this really horrible in between phase of neither being here nor there. And I remember just saying to a few of my friends, like, this part is the worst part because I don't want to go backwards, but I'm not quite forwards yet. I've let go of so many parts of myself, yet I'm opening myself up to lots of new parts, and I'm really not quite anything yet. And I've actually experienced this a few times in my life. There's been times like when I left my relationship, it was a case of, okay, well, I don't want to go backwards because that wouldn't be fair on us, that wouldn't be right at this present moment, and can't skip ahead, I've got to go through it. So, what do I do whilst I'm not here nor there? Alongside that, when I was really starting to do my personal development, I no longer associated nor resonated with the person I was prior, yet I still hadn't fully become the person I was like on the way to be. Yeah, when I moved here, it was just like I can see where I'm headed and I can see where I'm going, but I'm not that right now. And I need to just believe that I'm going to be that one day and trust, although that I'm like wishing and praying, like, please, can it just come tomorrow? Like, please, I just want everything. And I still feel like that now. And I experienced that again today after having a period of time back home, kind of stepping back from my phone a little bit. I mean, I was still working throughout the Christmas period, but not as heavily as I had been leading up to Christmas. And anybody that knows real estate knows that it's like a lifestyle, it's not a job, it's like it becomes your everything. So coming away from that for a period of time, as nice as it was, coming back into it, I kind of shocked myself a little bit. Like today my phone was pinging like nobody's business, and it kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And I kind of had to sit with myself and understand that, Kate, like, you're just having a panic because you know what's to come. You've been through it before. It's just a little bit of excitement, a little bit of nerves, a little bit of uncertainty because, yes, okay, the last few months have gone this way, which you don't know what the next 3 months going to look like. And it's just, again, tapping into, like, as I said, I am no perfect human being. I have to remind myself of everything I say an awful lot of the time. And yeah, I just had this really weird episode, and I spent the whole day indoors doing admin, trying to get through my to-do list. And I kept saying to myself, like, I'm doing all of this now because one day I won't have to. And it was at that moment I realized actually that's not the mindset I should have ever. And that's not the mindset I teach people to have either. Because if you're constantly yearning for the end, you're not going to enjoy the process. And I took a very stern word to myself and just started talking in the I am lucky, I am blessed kind of mentality of, do you know what? I love my life here and I love my job and I love the stress that it provides me, because without that stress, I wouldn't have my apartment, I wouldn't have these opportunities, I wouldn't meet these people, I wouldn't, I was started to be grateful for my job because I was like, well, that is what financially keeps me here and keeps me around the things and the people I love. So I had to like very quickly shift myself out of that. But I just thought it was really relevant to talk about because I think it's so easy for us to slip in and out of these headspaces. And, even myself, I sit here and I like to guide people and I like to give people advice. It's kind of me being a little bit more vulnerable and showing, like, actually, like, I still think these ways too, and I still have those moments. So, yeah, going back to it, kind of bringing it right back to the point of the discussion today about what to do next once you've kind of let go of the control and you're in that kind of transition phase. There's a really wonderful podcast by Jerry Flowers labeled Transition. It's definitely worth a watch if you're just looking for something a little bit more inspirational. But yeah, the transitional phase between, whatever you're doing, it could be something so simple. You could be moving house, you could be exiting a relationship, entering a relationship, you could be changing a small part about yourself, you could be going through personal development, therapy, whatever it is. In life, you're always going to have these moments of transition where you're not quite your old self or what you were previously doing, but you're not quite at your new goal yet and who you want to be. So it's this really weird quiet in between that nobody seems to know how to navigate, me included. It's a work in progress. And yeah, I guess it's really important to touch upon, because when we're unsure of something, it terrifies us. And this transitional phase can often be the one thing that sends everybody right back to where they started, right back into comfortability, and stops them from then being able to enter the next door. And if you are a person that feels like every time you go to do something, you kind of psych yourself up, get to it, and you get to that next stage, and then you're hit with this horrible, like, oh, this isn't right for me. And then that's what stops you, and you go back and you kind of constantly find yourself in that back and forth pattern. Trust me, I think this episode may resonate with you, because I've been there myself many a times. Many a times. And I'm going to tell you now, it's not that it's not right for you, it's actually so right for you, but you just need to trust the ending. Like, you are in transition, and transition is uncomfortable, but it doesn't always have to be. It's just partly acknowledging it. That's the first step. And then the rest is, again, once you've let go of your control, you have to replace it with something. And obviously, I explained in the last episode that when you think of it visually as a throne, you can't have two kings in a kingdom. When you step out of that throne and you let the higher power in, that's almost the same as letting go of control and replacing it with trust. Trust is a very vague term, because when I say trust, who are we trusting in, right? I can say God, I can say the world, but who are we really trusting in? And the answer for that is really yourself, because deep down to the core, that is who you are living for. That is who runs and orchestrates your mind. That's who orchestrates how you move your body, and what things you open yourself up to. You can be past opportunities, but it's in your heart to then decide what opportunities you take, etc. So once you have let go of that control, you've given up your seat on the throne, you've decided, I'm choosing trust over control, you have to stay committed to this. And it can be really difficult, because there will be moments like I've had today where I'm sat in my living room going, it's like, what have I put myself into? And you start to doubt yourself, and that will happen. That's part of the process. And the world has a very funny way of trying to prevent you from progressing, and self-doubt is the biggest contender of that. You almost have to take yourself out of your body and talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. Now, I'm 100% sure if a friend knocked on your door, sat on your sofa and said to you, I want to give up, I don't think this is right for me anymore, just feeling a little bit down, a little bit stressed, you are not telling them to pack up their stuff and go. You're telling them, don't be silly, carry on, like, you've got it, we know you, like, we know you better than you know yourself, like, you're gonna be fine, right? And you have to almost do that to yourself. So now we've let go of control, we've stepped off the throne, we've allowed the higher power, the trust to come in, we're giving ourselves that compassion to keep going, kind of sit through the discomfort and just trust that it's going to work out. The best thing that you can then do in these phases is track your progress. It's different for everybody. Some people don't like to take pen and paper. Some people like to type. I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong way to do it, but the way that I have found the most useful for myself personally is creating a very structured planner. Now, I've had so many different physical planners that I've loved and used, but I never really found one that worked perfectly for me in everything I wanted it for. I found myself having multiple different diaries. I've now created a digital copy on my iPad, basically like a life Bible. There's my journal in there, there's my vision board, there's my monthly recap, my weekly recap, my daily, there's stuff about work, gym, habits, prayer, like there's everything imaginable in that planner. Basically what this does is not only acts as like an accountability, but also make sure that you're prioritizing time for mindfulness and planning, and that then gives you that element of control, which I was talking about in the last episode, where, like, although I'm telling you to release control, control is still needed to a certain degree for certainty. So it's understanding and establishing where that control is appropriate and where you can have it. So in this journal, if you're anything like me, it gives you that step-by-step structure in a world of chaos. And like, I in my career cannot predict what my diary is going to look like, what my week's going to look like, what my finances are going to look like. However, what I can do is control the structure that I follow each week in order to achieve my goals, whether that be work or personal. So by tracking this progress, it kind of shows you visually over time the progress you're making, and kind of in your head gives you that satisfaction of how close you are to being at your end goal, therefore making it feel less of like, okay, this isn't working for me, because we scientifically run off of evidence. And I'm very much an out of sight, out of mind person. Like, I have to remind myself of a lot of things. And it's one of the things that I wish I could change about myself, because it can make me very forgetful in the moments where I really don't want to be forgetful as well. It also then feeds the wolf of my imposter syndrome as well, because if I'm not visually seeing something and reminding myself that it's there, I then start to doubt myself or feel like something's not right for me, or I kind of just don't really appreciate what's at hand. Um, so being able to track each and every little goal, you kind of see the transformation and the transition happening, and track how close you are to that end goal. It's a bit like if you invested some money into, say, stocks and shares, right? And you just put the money in and then just left it alone. Like, you don't know what's going on with that money. Like, you can't tell if you've gained, if you've lost, and you don't know if it was the right investment or the wrong investment because you're not checking. Whereas if you were to track it on a monthly basis, you would then know, okay, that's what it's doing. Okay, is that a time to withdraw it? Do I need to reinvest it in something else? And etc. etc. Like, you're able to then, throughout that transformation, track where subtle changes are needed. Like, is there anything that's holding me back? Is there something that's not quite working for me? Is that holding up my growth? And because we can all go into something thinking, right, this is the way we want to do it, but it's not until you're actually doing it that you realize, okay, actually that doesn't quite work like that. So tracking that progress kind of helps guide you through that transformation and make sure that you're doing it correctly, and just gives you that peace of mind and that clarity and control over what you can control. The one planner that I recommend to everybody, and I've used a lot of the templates from that in my digital planner now, is the Productivity Method by Grace Beverly. It's their daily planner. Now, in there, you've got all your basics like your schedule, your to-do list, and I really like how they separate the priority list and your normal to-dos by sort of like 30-minute tasks, projects, etc., and like quick to-dos. And then you also track your gym, your water, your habit of the day, one thing you're grateful for. Like, it's basically everything all in one page. So you slowly track your progress over time and you're holding yourself accountable. Now, this planner was the thing that kind of got me into the swing of this like monthly, weekly, daily check-in. So if you don't really know where to start and you just kind of want something cute to have in your handbag, that is in every which way like the best investment for you. Most important part, aside from the structure and the kind of logistics of how it works, you really do just have to take it super easy on yourself. Like, you have to understand there are going to be days where you feel like things aren't right, and things can be working exactly how they're meant to, and you can still sit there and think like, this isn't for me, I can't be bothered, I don't want to do it. Like, I know it's working, but I don't want to keep doing this. And all I can say to you is, especially if you're in the position like I am, I'm 22 years of age, I am so young, like, I have got the rest of my life to sit there and be comfortable. I don't want to be comfortable right now, because comfortability doesn't make you grow. Use this time whilst you're young to put yourself out there, be in transition as many times possible in your life. Trust me, the growth that you will get from it, undescribable. Indescribable? I don't know what the word is. I will continue to say this, and I'm sure it will come up in every single episode I do, but do not be the person that avoids discomfort and clings to familiarity, because you do not understand the potential, the opportunity, and the lessons that are out there ready to be learned if you do not put yourself in those situations. So when you're in those moments of transition and you feel a little bit lost, a little bit confused, a little bit uncertain of whether it's going to work, just remind yourself this is a temporary feeling. A little bit outside of the theme of this episode today, this is my reminder to you, based on how I'm feeling today. Challenge yourself, sit through it, know that you've done it before and you'll do it again. Each moment of feeling uncomfortable is going to lead to insane growth. I actually learned something in my training before starting this new job, which was, if you were told to succeed, you had to fail 30 times. How quickly would you fail those 30 times? Success is defined very differently for very different people, but the fact stays the same. The quicker you do it, the more times you expose yourself to it, the quicker you will get to your end goal. So within this journey of kind of letting go and trusting, do be aware that it doesn't mean that at the end it's all going to be simple and peaceful. Like, putting that trust into your journey the way I'm teaching you will allow you to then put yourself in uncomfortable positions willingly and really expedite the growth and potential within yourself. As much as I'm teaching you to have a calmer, more trusting approach to life, in turn, you'll actually be doing things far bigger, far scarier than you ever would have in the beginning. So sit with me, trust me on this journey. I'm in it too, and that is the most valuable part of this whole podcast. You're not on your own. There may be things I talk about that you relate to, there may be things that you've never thought of before, but my intention here is to show you in real time exactly how to break away from the limiting beliefs, how to turn the self-doubt and fear into the fuel that you need in order to reach your goals and be the best possible version of yourself. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I intend to keep the structure of this quite kind of chronological so that you can almost follow it step by step, but there will be occasional days like today where luckily the next step was really relevant to what I was feeling, but there may be some just random moments where I just talk about something completely off topic or skip ahead a little bit. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever time you're watching this. Yes, that is it for today's episode. Just remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. We're learning this together. Just be patient, stay present, challenge the discomfort, and I'll speak to you next time.